Taris is defenseless against our assault, Lord Malak. They are offering no resistance. The city is in ruins.
Resume the bombardment, Commander. Wipe this pathetic planet from the face of the galaxy.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Today I am talking about the KOTOR news. I know I don't do Star Wars videos all the time, but I'm looking to change that, like I did the other day with my episode 9 Variety Fair coverage. Check that out if you missed it. But today, guys, I'm going to talk about one of the most impactful Star Wars experiences I had kind of in my life as a kid growing up, and that was, Knights of the Old Republic. It was just... I know a lot of people probably haven't played this game because, especially if you're coming into the new fandom from the Disney films, but then again, maybe you have. But one thing I think that isn't up for debate, really, and I think maybe every Star Wars fan probably agrees upon, is that the Knights of the Old Republic games and their story is arguably on par with, and this is my opinion, maybe even the storyline of the Skywalker saga. And this isn't necessarily massively new, because I remember it was like a couple of months back that somebody was, I can't remember off the top of my head, interviewing Kathleen Kennedy, and yes, the Knights of the Old Republic bomb dropped, saying, is there anything in the works? And she was, I'm paraphrasing here, but she was like, basically, yes, absolutely. I don't know exactly where that's going to land. Obviously, we're kind of go on like a little bit of a Star Wars break here and there, but that's the confusing thing. If we got D&D's trilogy, the Game of Thrones guys, and then we've got Rian Johnson's thing still going on, which is another 3 films. Disney, how are you taking a break if we're now getting potentially Knights of the Old Republic? Now, these details are scarce. I will bring up the article in a second. But, people are now speculating, is this going to be, yes, they're movies, but are they going to kind of be like what Netflix does sometimes with Netflix original movies on the Disney streaming service? Which is a very interesting take. So let's get into this. This is from BuzzFeed. So a new Star Wars movie based on Knights of the Old Republic is in the works. BuzzFeed has learned that Lita Kalogridis, I can't pronounce the name, I'm sorry, is writing the KOTOR screenplay. And this article was written by Kate Arthur, I believe. Yep, and the link will be in the description down below as always. So let's move on to the actual meat of the subject. A movie based on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, that beloved video game first released in 2003, is currently being written by Lita Kalogridis. I'm sorry. Avatar, Shutter Island for Lucasfilm. 3 sources close to the project told BuzzFeed News. The project should be welcome news to Star Wars fandom who may be feeling beaten down after Solo's disappointing box office led Lucasfilm to reevaluate the franchise's ambitions and scale back the studio's release schedule. So you may or may not, I guess, feel that way. I personally enjoyed Solo. I don't necessarily want more films like that, but I wasn't one of the people who didn't not enjoy it. I actually genuinely did enjoy that movie. So Knights of the Old Republic, nicknamed KOTOR by its devotees, is a role-playing game about the Jedi versus Sith set nearly 4,000 years before the events of 1977's Star Wars A New Hope. Fans have long yearned for its rich story to be adapted to film. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, like, seriously. A Star Wars celebration in April, Lucasfilm, this is what we mentioned earlier, President Kathleen Kennedy told MTV News, so that's who I couldn't remember earlier, yes, we are developing something to look at after being asked about KOTOR. Right now, I have no idea where things might fall. And that's kind of all she did give, but that still blew up, people, blew minds of people like me in the fandom. Now, since then, I have made a video because, this is when all those Disney streaming service shows were kind of blowing up, and then there were even more rumored shows to be at least on the list to maybe be explored. And I believe that involved maybe potentially a Princess Leia show and a few other shows, but then they were looking into maybe a Darth Bane show, and I was like, holy crap, like, of course, that could work well in movies, but I could seriously imagine a Darth Bane show on TV. Now, I'm not going to go on about that here because this is not what that's about, but evidently, one thing we know, whether you believe how reliable all of this stuff is, Disney are kind of listening to the fans in the sense of this, that they've been sleeping on it. Sorry, Star Wars in general have been sleeping on KOTOR. and they know that they need to do something with it. So the other thing as well that is interesting, and I'll get back to this in a second, is that people are like obviously worried about, before, everyone would be excited about KOTOR potentially being made into live action, but ever since the Disney treatment to Star Wars The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, fans are now not exactly as hyped for this as maybe what you would actually think. And I understand why. Because some fans feel like obviously this is not a secret that their baby that they've been cradling all of these years has been ruined, and now we don't need to get into this as to why. A quick example of character direction of Luke Skywalker, this, that, and the other, yada yada yada. Completely get it. We've all heard it before. So now they're potentially rocking a little Darth Revan in their arms, and Malak and Bastila Shan and all of that. They're now shitting their pants, to put it, they're also like biting their nails in excitement, but also like, don't F this up, Disney. Seriously, I do apologize about butchering this woman's name, but Kalogridis is close to finishing the first script of a potential KOTOR trilogy, according to the 3 sources. She is the first woman writer of a Star Wars movie since The Empire Strikes Back in 1980, when Lee Brackett received a co-writing credit with Lawrence Kasdan. Lucasfilm has been criticized for hiring only white men to shepherd the world of Star Wars. Representatives for Kalogridis, Lucasfilm, and Disney did not respond to BuzzFeed's News' request for a comment. Now, what do I think about this? Obviously, I really want this to happen. Now, obviously, at the same time, this isn't 100% confirmed. What we can kind of confirm is that Disney have got their hands in the cookie jar. They really, really have. BuzzFeed, as for their, credibility, I've got, this does make sense. Obviously, this has gone all the way around the internet now. They're referencing BuzzFeed. But I feel like the more interesting question to ask is that everyone thought that Dan and Dave, D&D, their trilogy, they were going to helm the KOTOR storyline potentially if, with their trilogy films. Rian Johnson's going to probably do something different. But now we've got this screenplay being written by later Kalogridis. Maybe she still is, but I guess D&D would do that themselves unless she's come on board to like write the screenplay. This is like an interesting thing. It does seem quite wild to me to believe that there's 3 trilogies, in terms of D&D's, Rian Johnson's, KOTOR. It just seems like, really? And even if you do believe that would mean it wouldn't be coming to like the mid-2020s, which could be the case. But this is what's kind of almost steering me towards the fact that what if it is for like an exclusive movie for their streaming platform? What if they don't have the absolute utmost faith about this, but they do at the same time? They're like, let's play it safe and develop this, still pour a shite ton of money into it, but put it on Disney, the streaming service. So I don't know. It's a very interesting and exciting time. I'm just intrigued to learn more about this. I definitely think that it should be on the big screen. Don't get me wrong. I think I would be happy as well with it being on the streaming service. But, the KOTOR, I think, if you're not so familiar, this is just to the guys who aren't. For me personally, as much as I adore the Skywalker saga for kind of the most part, for obvious reasons I don't need to explain. Don't get me wrong, I do like some things about the new films. It's a much more exciting time in Star Wars. It really, really is. There's so much potential. Like, it is ridiculous. People are talking about the Darth Revan twist, though. Like, are they going to kind of, if they do bring this to the big screen, are they going to actually change the plot from the main game quite a lot? Because obviously we know that, the Darth Revan twist is going to be very predictable to see on the screen. So when they adapt it into this screenplay, regardless of whether you have Darth Malak and the same kind of characters, I'm genuinely posing this question. Do you think they will do a carbon copy and paste, quite literally? Or do you think that Disney will try and add some different elements into it? Obviously, like, I expect some changes. I mean, the video game is a video game. You could almost liken it, I guess, this, I don't know if this is a good or bad comparison, but look at the Witcher games from CD Projekt Red, and now look at how they're adapting it with Henry Cavill. Now, yes, I'm fully aware that with Henry Cavill, like, that's based more kind of on the accurate book version, but that's what I'm trying to say. They might try and polish it a little bit differently in that way, but I'm very intrigued to see if they change any story elements. And a lot of the Star Wars fandom as well, we can't forget, and I'm not actually saying a lot, obviously a big portion is from the OG days, but we have had a huge influx of people, and I personally know people who've only quite literally hopped on board you know, in the younger generation with The Force Awakens onwards. So these people, you know, yes, sure, they may have played the Old Republic, but yet again, a large portion of them may not have. And yes, I know it could easily be spoiled, but for crying out loud, the argument you could easily pose here is quite literally that, oh, books get made into films, so the twist is already out there. So I think they will keep it the same. I'm mega excited. There is so much potential with this. I am also mega apprehensive because this I would quite literally be more worried about than a main Skywalker film, you know, with Disney screwing up than this. Like, I would be so worried about this being handled incorrectly. But I think, I just have to think that they know how important this is to a lot of fans. I feel like if they handle this incorrectly, they will piss those guys off even more, which I just feel Disney can't take. I mean, yes, they did say before that they don't care about that, but I feel like they have backtracked on that a little bit, and maybe this is their way of appeasing us. I don't know ultimately. This is just my opinion. This is a lot of off-the-head speculation, but I just wanted to talk about it anyway. You guys definitely, if you haven't played KOTOR anyway, you can pick it up on your Xbox One, for example, I believe. I don't know if it's on PlayStation, might be, but they've got it on like Xbox One X Enhanced or something like that. Obviously, you can get it on Steam. Go through and play it. Of course, at the same time, everybody, they could be just adapting, you know, Kreia and Darth Sion, like, and the Exile. But that would be an odd place to start. You would have to think they would do Darth Revan, you know, and that whole very complex and interesting story of, well, I don't really want to give it away. Like, even though that sounds silly, I want to offer you guys the opportunity to explore that story yourself. Because if you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't experienced this, holy crap, you were in for a treat. Seriously, you really, really are. Aside from that, everyone, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. It's just an extra kind of bonus video because I wanted to give my opinion on it. I love Star Wars. I love KOTOR especially. So let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments below. Like this video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe if you are brand new for more Star Wars content like this over the summer. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and may the Force be with you always.